An hour from Oslo, in the southeast corner of Norway, lies the town of Sarpsborg. Home to around 50,000 residents, it may be best known as the birthplace of Roald Amundsen, the first man to reach the South Pole. Nowadays, Sarpsborg plays host to an intrepid adventurer from Yorkshire. Former Doncaster, Sheffield United and Leeds striker Brian Deane took the reins of Sarpsborg 08, the local club recently promoted to Norway's top tier. I ventured across the North Sea to find out how he's adapting to life in Scandinavia.
It's a great opportunity to be involved in a project going forward with the club. Sarpsborg it's a lovely little town, 50,000 people, but I'm here to manage. I'm here to develop as a person and as a manager, and I feel that this is the ideal opportunity for me.
Dozens of foreign coaches have arrived in English football in recent times, but very few Englishmen try their hand overseas. So why has Brian decided to come to Norway and to Sarpsborg to launch his managerial career?
I really do feel as though if I can spend some time out here, you know, perhaps 2 years, maybe more, then I think that it gives me a better, more ability to cope with situations that I might find back home. You know, somebody said, a Premier League manager, I think, was quoted as saying that I learn more in a year than I would in 4 back home. Well, that might be because I've got time to build philosophy at the club here, which I feel is very important.
Brian arrived in January along with his assistant Ian Birchnell. The two previously coached together at Leeds University and still run a football academy back in England.
The challenge is to keep us into the top league and move on from there, and I feel that you have to use the resources that you've got. I mean, I've come over with Ian, I've coached with Ian now for 5 years, I trust him. We have a good dynamic between us because there's things that Ian brings to me that I haven't got the benefit of, and there's things that obviously with my experiences I bring to the table, so we work well as a pair.
One country's loss is another's gain. After repeatedly being turned down for coaching jobs in England, Brian felt he had to follow a different route to realise his ambitions.
So why do you think that you maybe couldn't get a job as a manager in England?
There could be several reasons. Without saying some of the obvious things that are in the news at the moment, I've got to do something different, and I've got to be able to bring what I bring uniquely to the table. I've got to get that to the forefront. So it meant perhaps going and managing abroad.
What you're alluding to there is because you're black. Do you think that makes it increasingly difficult to get a job?
I think it does, because I don't think that there's that level of trust from above. I don't think that some of the people involved actually perceive you as somebody who they would give the reins to. I think it will always be there. I think as a black person, it's up to me to realise that it is there, but not let it hold me back. And I think I've got enough about me to realise that, you know, it's always been a struggle.
As a player, Brian scored well over 100 goals at his Yorkshire teams, and those memories are never too far from his thoughts.
First time I was at Sheffield United was probably the happiest time for me, because we achieved so much with such a small squad, and it was all about having that siege mentality, going out there, proving people wrong. When I came to Leeds, it was a little bit different because it was big, the expectations were different, and I had a wonderful time there. It's great being in your hometown and actually being appreciated as I was there. With Doncaster, it was obviously the place where I managed to get my chance, which I'll always be grateful to.
From then to now, and Sarpsborg faced Viking Stavanger in their first home outing of the campaign after drawing their opening match. To the delight of their fans, they took the lead shortly before half-time. Viking levelled after the break, but buoyed on by some touchline encouragement, the hosts grabbed a winner. And what about this for a finish?
I wouldn't call it a stepping stone, definitely not, because that's not how I view it. I suppose ultimately, you know, having a big job in England at some time would be great, and I suppose that would be fulfilling.
So what a start to life in Norway for Brian. His team have won 4 points
in their first 2 games. It's clear that he's really enjoying himself over here, but if he continues at this rate, don't be surprised to find him in an English dugout before too long.